We can get started. I tried to think of an acronym and I got S can be the name of the movie.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Um, and that's as far as I got. Because there's a lot of like the themes of like, I don't know, like political intrigue, ties with communism, like sort of vengeance for a
Ties with
tragedy,
communism? That could
ties
be
with
T.
communism. That starts with a T.
That's with the
There you
T,
have it.
baby.
And two more letters. E is for evil, which is code for British. They're interchangeable, obviously. Everyone
Yes,
knows
that is
that.
true.
The whole time I was watching this movie, I literally was just thinking, the British are wicked. The British are wicked.
Me too.
I was like, I'm so glad that we just talked about that on this channel because now we're just like
It's all coming back into
like a
the
little callback. We're like, remember how we mentioned those nefarious, treacherous people, the British, how they're wicked? This whole movie is about that. Like, mainly. Oh, E for England.
yeah. It's all
Yeah.
coming together, baby.
Yeah. Because it's like, here's the thing, even if you're talking like British, that can be like Scottish, Welsh, Irish. And most of they're not wicked. Mostly they're only wicked because they're British because of the English.
Because of the
So like the
English.
English are the ultimate wicked.
I think that sounds perfect. M could be made me sad.
Made me sad. It's so true. Because it is like um dedicated listeners will know that before we started recording we were talking about it a little bit. And it's just so like so intense, so infuriating, and so sad the entire time.
The whole time, yeah.
Sardar,
Yeah.
it could be like Sardar Udham, like name of the movie, and then colon. These are the things that it's about. Ties with communism, English,
Communism.
parentheses, wicked, and made me
Wicked.
sad.
And made me sad.
Yeah.
Yes. I have some thoughts that I wrote down. I
Okay.
also I'm reading through our notes from Rango,
Uh-huh.
and I have Timothy Oliphant written down here, and for the life of me, I can't remember why. Was he in Rango?
I isn't he? I thought that was why we talked about him.
He must have been. I don't. What role was he? Stop it. You were just so cuddly and cute a minute ago.
Oh yeah, he's the spirit.
That's right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, yeah, okay. Now I
I
can
was
stop
like
th
I was
now I
like,
can
dude,
stop
isn't he
thinking about
like
that.
definitely in that though?
Oh shit, Theo. I'm going to kill my children. Okay. That's this whole thing started with me going to
Oh yeah, you were
um
gonna look at your notes
I
about
was
this
going
movie, and then you looked at your notes for a different movie.
on accident, yeah.
Yeah.
So this one was a very different experience than the last
From
several
most
movies.
most of what we watch on the channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even like I think the last tragedy that we talked about was Samurai Rebellion, and that one
Yes.
is like fun. It does have like some just comical moments.
Yeah.
Like when he's telling the nanny, like, oh yeah, we roll up the carpets so that they don't get stained with blood. And she's like, "Hmm, you know?
How nice. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple good moments like that. But this one is just like very, I guess we should probably lay it out for those of us who aren't Deogiri who haven't watched it and recommended it.
Yeah, by the way, this one's for you, man.
Yeah.
Dedicate this whole thing to
We
you.
read all your comments. We love them. And sorry this
We
took
talk
so
about you all
long.
the time.
But we like, yeah, we genuinely are like, another comment. Like, yeah. We should put them all up on the screen so people can see.
We
This is what a
should.
dedicated listener looks like.
We're your number one fans. Yes.
Yes.
Please don't stop commenting now that we've watched your movie.
Yeah,
Please
please
keep,
recommend
please.
another one or like just reply to
Yeah.
other people or something. We want to keep you around. We
Yes.
like the vibe you bring to the channel.
Yes.
For anybody else who hasn't seen it, it's like I like the concept of it where there's like a true story, but that is kind of revealed backwards through like found historical documents over time, right?
Yes.
That was so cool. And I think it like in the movie they do it really well where they have like right now we're in like northern India in the 20s, and now we're in Russia in the 30s, and now we're like it kind of bounced back and forth. For the beginning,
Mhm.
it was an interesting
Mhm.
way to set up like this is being pieced together Bible style. That was
Yeah.
a really interesting way to piece it.
Yeah,
And
if we've
it's
said it
about
once, we've said it 1,000 times. Non-linear storytelling is the way to go.
it rocks. It's
We
cool.
love it.
Yeah, and more people could make use of it because it is like so interesting.
Yeah, and this, you're right. This was an unusual non-linear pattern. Like, I usually it's just between two times, right? Or like
Yeah,
through a certain nest egg of like Christopher Nolan levels, but
yeah,
yeah, jumping through location and time, like, and not in a necessarily confusing way.
right.
It's done simply, but also enough to the point where you are very engaged and you
Yeah, and
have
you're
to be
like,
paying
this guy
attention.
went through a lot. Like these are a lot of times, a lot of places, a lot of like languages he has to learn, a lot of people
Yeah.
he has to meet, right? Like you get the sense of like this is this man's like life mission. And he'll go
Hmm.
anywhere and do anything, right, to be able to make it happen. And you do like it is pretty quick in the beginning where they have these kind of like flashback scenes of him like traveling through the
Hmm.
snow and all that stuff. And then for like the rest of it, it's kind of in like, oh, we didn't explain. He is going to assassinate a British political leader who
Based.
um based um who I don't know if instigated is the word, but he like signed off on like an absolute massacre
Hmm.
of his people. And he's like, obviously this is wrong. This like negatively impacted thousands of lives. We're never going to be the same, and you need to pay for that, right? So he tracks this guy down for
For like
like
20
20
years.
years and finally kills him. And you're like, okay, based.
King, king,
Yeah.
dedicated king.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
that's like the beginning to middle of the movie. And then the rest of it, there's like a good chunk where he's being questioned by detectives, by his lawyer, and you kind of start piecing the story together. Then he's convicted. He's going to be hanged. And then you get the background story of the massacre itself, and that's kind of where it ends. So it's a really interesting like timeline, but I do
Hmm.
think it's effective of like seeing the story of this man's life like pieced together through the historical documents as it was in real life,
Hmm.
and then it's like grounded and like this is why it matters, and you just kind of let that settle, and it's not a fun
Yeah.
ending. I think you're
No,
like,
it's really
okay.
not.
Like, but it's you feel the weight of it, and I think it's
Yeah.
effective in that way. It's like The
Um,
Pianist, where it's like, would I watch this like regularly? Probably not. You know, it's devastating. But
yeah.
is it like beautiful as a film, and does it tell like a really important story?
Yeah.
Both, yes, yeah.
The other one that I drew similarities to was Hacksaw Ridge, which is my brother's
Mm.
favorite movie and has love of my life Andrew Garfield as the star. Um, he can do no wrong, by the way. Knock on wood,
So far,
just in
that seems
case.
true. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't want
yeah,
to. It's hard these days.
yeah.
Can't have any favorite celebrities because of woke.
Yeah, yeah. We used to be a great nation, but now,
We used to have BuzzFeed Unsolved.
and now we have what? Failed Watcher TV? And this is indicative of like, I think if you look at celebrity politics and then you look at BuzzFeed Unsolved guys, there's some parallels there.
There's
It's something to think
always
about.
there is always freaking parallels. Shane and Ryan, if you're watching this, I just need you to know again, you've disappointed me specifically. Back in May, you made your apology video, and I was like, okay, maybe I can get past this. And now every time I see your stupid faces, they make me sick to my stomach. I'm so angry. Screw you guys.
And like, genuinely, what was the thought process? You know?
I think there wasn't one, and I think that was the problem. I think they
Yeah.
saw Dropout and the
They're
Try
like, we should do
Guides.
that.
Yeah.
And just no hesitation, no
How
plan.
much how much could a banana cost, Michael? How much could a subscription cost? Watcher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
$5? anybody can afford that for our 1 episode a month plan with 2 guys sitting in a room talking, which, by the way, everyone was fine with. We never needed production value. No one
No,
wanted it.
no one wanted that. People
You
like
don't need
this
15
podcast.
producers on one show with 2 guys talking. I'm going to
Yeah.
shoot you for
You can
real.
do it for free, and thousands of people do it for free online every day for fun. We do this as a hobby, and even if you have it as a job, like how many people genuinely do you need on your team? Like you can have like a PR manager, you know what I mean? But do you need
Yeah.
15 PR managers? Do you need 15 directors of photography? Or can you just be like, this is our camera one, this is camera two? You know what I mean? Like you could figure it out
You could be fine. Yeah.
without
Maybe
having
if they'd
so many
had.
people on the payroll, and then now the fans have to pay
Now,
your
where
employees
money? Yeah, and 90% of their
when
content
that's your
comes
job.
from
Like your
fans anyway.
payroll shouldn't be from the fans. Like you should have, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't be feeding the mouths of your employees' children. Like
Seriously. Like people are giving you their ghost stories, their funny stories, their haunted places, like all of these people are giving you recommendations for places to go and visit and
right, like
like
it's already collaborative.
yeah,
How much
like
more do you need to like leech off of people who are giving you these things for free?
literally. If you
Yeah,
had had 15 PR managers, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
yeah.
Okay? Y'all don't need Teslas. I know you live in LA, but like, come on.
Ugh.
This has been
And
bubbling up
here's the
inside
thing,
me for 6 months.
there are electric car alternatives.
Yes,
You have to
you
buy a
don't have to suck
Tesla?
on Musk's toes
Like a freak.
like
Just do
a
something normal. Just
freak.
like buy a different car.
Literally anything else.
Or
Ride a
just like
bike,
lobby for
you
better
dick.
like public transportation.
Yeah.
Everybody there needs it. Like, yeah,
In
everybody could
LA,
buy a
of all
car and make
places.
the traffic worse. Or you could be like, hey, what if there was like a different solution to this?
Yeah, if only we had like a dedicated fan base
Yeah, if only we
and
had some
we're
sort of
like
influence that we
influential.
could be like, let's all get together and do this. Like Hank and John, they do everything.
Hank and John are carrying this country on their backs,
Yeah.
along with
They're
Rhett and
like
Link and
they're
Big
like
Ben.
eradicating like serious diseases in third world countries.
While
What are you
battling
doing?
their own cancer. Like, Hank had cancer.
Yeah. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to turn this into a learning experience for all my online science students. He didn't have to do that, but that's just like how he is. He's like, well, of course I had to. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They do those socks where they like work with small artists to design a sock every month, and then they send it to you and the money goes to charity.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's Hank's main side thing. He's like, if I wasn't known for science, I would want to be known for socks.
He's so damn funny. I
Yeah.
never heard about Hank when I was growing up. It was always John.
Hmm.
But
Well, I
like
think the time that we were growing up was like the
the
time for
John
like
era.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
The Fault in Our Stars was like huge in middle
yeah.
school.
He
Yeah.
had his yeah, famous Tumblr era.
Which didn't
And then
end
he
well, but now he's back.
back
Did you
and
see
better than
that?
ever, baby.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's called
Um,
growth.
I can't
Let's
wait
see
for Tumblr
Shane and
staff.
Ryan
Let's see
get
Shane and Ryan.
get
How about
bullied
you?
to death. Let's see them get cyberbullied on Tumblr so bad that they leave for a decade, but then come back better.
I am actually praying for that because I have been seeing their faces literally constantly. Have you been seeing those stupid ads? The boys are thawing. Go back in the freezer. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you. I'm so angry. And then you have the audacity to come into my house where
Hmm.
I have you blocked.
No, it's crazy to like have them blocked, but then you still have to see their ad. That's annoying.
Yeah. 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 I like
Not that
if I
either
had
of us have Tumblr, but if
and
we did,
I never
hypothetically, that would
would.
be annoying.
Yeah, no. I would never you can waterboard that out of me.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
gross.
Anyway, that was I'm sorry.
Yeah. We might
viewers
be
about
taking a
that
lot of
tangent.
side tangents today, just because that's the mood that we've created in the so-called studio. In this kind of like airspace, we've
Yeah,
we've created a kind of sinister
we might
environment.
be dealing with some personal issues.
Yeah. You might see those peek through. But
Oof.
probably not
Okay.
because we're stoic. Um,
Yes, and very professional. I have a
Nothing's ever
question
been
for
wrong with
you.
us.
No, that's true.
You have a
Um,
question.
I do. What is, if you were to say, what is the opposite of a microscope?
A macroscope.
Okay.
Is that,
It's for a reason. Yeah.
oh,
I had a film teacher. We were talking about two types of movies. One of them was a microscope, like a microscope and like a scalpel. Very, very
mm,
fine precision instrument.
right.
Um, and I have been trying this whole time to think of the opposite of those things, and I can't for the life of me remember what the comparison was, but it's films. And I think I was gonna use RRR as the other example of like um being like blown out of proportion and being extravagant and um looking at the wider scope of things instead of like the precision of just looking at one man and his life and his
Right.
impact. And this movie is more of a microscope, is more of a scalpel than the other thing, which like it's not absolutely necessary for me to remember it, but I am going to be thinking about it for the rest of the video, and I probably will
Hmm.
interrupt you at some point if I remember, if I
Okay,
think of
and that's
an
fine.
appropriate thing. Yeah, just
Yeah.
so you know. But
Okay.
do you see what I'm saying? Where like
Yeah.
it's over the RRR is over the top and ridiculously fun. Uh,
But it's satisfying because you get some like resolution. There's some comeuppance at the end. You
yeah,
see their everything that they've been working toward pay off at the end, and so it's
yeah.
really like kind of an explosive ending. Whereas this one, like he gets his vengeance kind of toward the beginning, so you have that like less of a sense of like triumph and more just like a greater like understanding of why he did what he did, right? Which you see a little
Yeah.
bit in Triple R, but again, that's like not the vibe that they're going for. This is supposed to be like a blockbuster, like imagining what if these two people came together in this way.
Hmm.
Whereas this is much more like true to life. Like, as far as we can tell, this is pretty much what happened.
Yes. I okay. Here you have you seen that post that's like Lord of the Rings and All Quiet on the Western Front are two sides of the same coin.
Mm, yeah,
That
so true,
same.
dude. I was
You
thinking about
see?
All Quiet on the Western Front like probably the past 3 weeks. It's just come up again and again. I don't know why.
It's yeah, Neil made me watch the first 10 minutes of it. Pardon me.
Of the
Um
new one or the old one?
of the new one
Hmm.
because there's a really cool sound effect in it that he really likes. And also he likes war movies. He likes Hacksaw Ridge. That's his favorite. This one he really liked, but he knew I wouldn't like it. But he's like, I just need you to see this one scene because of these reasons. But then I was like, now I can't stop thinking about it, and now I have to read about it. So that's
Hmm.
like I know the general vibe of it. Anyway, that's it about that. But like the two,
Right.
you know,
But you can
RRR
have
is the
one
Lord of the
that's
Rings
like
of
right, right, right.
yeah.
Or it's
Like,
it's
what
a
if they all lived?
fantasy, yeah, it's turning it into like a really beautiful and triumphant, hopeful story. And the other one
Yeah.
is like, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good example. Nice poll. It was like
Thank
Emily's
you.
Sherlock Holmes poll the other week. I was editing that. I was like, oh my gosh, she's a
That
genius.
I really liked both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they said to tell you hi, and Emily asked how your
Oh,
dress is going.
aw, that's really nice. I've not worked on it since we talked. Not to talk about Ravenous, but something really interesting about that movie is like the inciting incident happens very early on in the film too. You think
Hmm.
the climax is going to be when the cannibal reveal happens, and it's like, ooh, scary, what now? But no, the cannibal reveal happens really early on in the film, and then you're like, well, what are we going to do for the rest of this time? We have like a whole hour left. How are we
Yeah.
going to deal with this?
And you're biding your time. is the thing. For the next
Yeah.
hour, it's like, how do we avoid this guy? How do we let people know not to come to the camp, like to get out, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Peele style, perhaps.
Yeah. And I think this is a similar uh like narrative structure where, like you were saying earlier, the assassination attempt happens so early in the film that now we have to, well, okay, what led up to this?
Hmm.
Like I think it's a creative, and I love watching movies that intentionally play with their own structure a little bit, because you
Hmm.
can tell how much care went into it, that they didn't just go to the default mode for it. They're like, well,
Right.
no, actually, that's why I think Christopher Nolan films are so successful, is because not only are they really fun and interesting stories, see The Prestige,
Hmm.
but
But
there's
he's playing
whole,
around with your expectations.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, literally, like three stories concurrently. And that's awesome. Or like Holes.
Holes.
Holes. Say no more.
Need I say more?
Like, yeah, come on.
I agree, and I also feel like it makes sense for it to be like because it is kind of the story of his life. So it starts with his travel, and then it goes to London. This is the moment that he's been waiting for, and then he does have to just like rot in prison.
Yeah.
And you hear the story through his like interrogations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like an interesting way to do it that like even though the story is really grounded in this thing that happened to thousands of people, this like huge international tragedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It because it's about him, they follow like his timeline and you get that story of like the detail of what happened when he like is getting his last visitor.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just need to know like what's going on in your head. And he's like, okay. Like just lays it all out for
Yeah.
like, I don't know, forever. I didn't keep
And
track of how
Eternity?
long that sequence was, but I was like, this movie is 2.5 hours, and this scene is also 2.5 hours. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, it's really a
You just
testament
you
to,
feel like every second of what happened.
for a really long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel every second for about 15 seconds and
Yeah.
then some. And then it keeps going. Yeah.
Which, like we were saying earlier, is like a very effective, like, it's the closest thing to knowing how he feels without having to actually experience a tragedy like that, you know? It was a
Yeah.
little close because I was like, this is a lot of what our like news feeds look like right now.
Yeah.
Like it's like no matter what time you're living in, there's always this kind of thing that just keeps happening. And you'd think at some point we'd be like, enough is enough. But so
Yeah.
far it hasn't happened. So you're just watching this like I it's like still
Again.
this
Yeah.
happened 100 years ago, and then it's also still happening right now. Still, like not
Yeah.
even
I
again,
finished
just like
I
continually. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that scene with Michael, what's his name, is talking. He's like, horrible weather, terrible food. I never even bothered to learn the language. They're just a bunch of filthy savages. And I was like,
Yeah,
wow, thank goodness we don't hear that kind of rhetoric about anybody these days. Oh, wait. Yeah, like, come on. Yeah.
crazy. And it's like you think when you're watching it, you're like, I can never imagine even thinking that about somebody's culture, let alone saying it to their face. But
And then
then,
saying you're one of the good ones. You seem reasonable.
yeah, he is reasonable. He's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And
And
that
that,
is the
again,
right thing to do.
that was a really good choice with the structure, again, because
Hmm.
you already know that guy's gonna get shot so, so hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, no, that's fine. Okay, no, it's all gonna be okay. He's
He's gonna
going to
get the
die.
killing. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
okay.
gonna be
But then
okay.
it's still like the restraint on this man to be in his home. Don't think
With
I
a
would
gun,
hesitate. Are you kidding me? Like, how did he wait? But
I'm
then, of
having a
course,
hard time with Wyatt
he's like,
now.
I need people to know that this isn't a random act of violence. This is a revolution.
Yes,
And so he
yes.
waits because he has this like higher cause. Oh my gosh. I just knocked my own ears out.
Well, and going back to what you said too about the movie feels like it's being discovered through historical documents, that articulates how I felt watching it. With, I mean, I hadn't even realized that's how I was feeling watching it until you said that. I was like, yeah, that's exactly how it feels, because you're just getting snippets here and there. And like, did he have something romantic with Eileen? Like, she's like, don't you think that's kind of personal? And the movie's like, fair enough, Queen. All right.
Sorry.
Back, they back off, and we don't know.
So true, Queen. My bad. Like
You
it
know,
is.
you
And then the next time you see her is like they're saying goodbye at like a train station and she just gives
yeah,
him like a kiss on the cheek or something.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. So you still never know if there was anything more than that, if either of them like it seems like they kind of want that, but you don't know.
Hmm.
And that's okay. It's like maybe that's none of our business, you know? And with a
Yeah.
movie that's made up, they probably would have leaned into that more. They probably would have made Eileen a more like given her more screen time, given her more sympathy, right? But this is
Yeah.
like this is the only thing that we know about Eileen, so that's the only thing we're gonna say.
Yeah. And that hits on another thing about the director, and I did not write his name down, but that I think he's incredibly brave
Mm-hmm.
for the way he told the story, because again, the third act of the movie goes on for, a couple years of real time, which was intentional and it was effective. Like, it's not fun, but it does its job very
Mm-hmm.
well, very effectively. Um, and you have with Eileen where, like, yeah, he could have leaned into that romance more. He could have made that the main point. And I think a lot of the storytellers would have sacrificed a little bit on the meaning and the
Mm-hmm.
intention
Mm-hmm.
in order to do that.
Like we
And
want to make it more romantic in at the cost of it being political, but like the whole
yeah,
thing is like his entire motive is political revolution. That's like his entire life.
yeah,
So it would
20
be doing him a
years.
discredit to
Yes.
focus so much on Eileen. And even it would be a discredit to her because like he links up with her initially because of her ties with like socialism. And
Yeah.
she's like doing all these movements for like, you know what I mean? He can see that
Yeah.
she's an ally because of also her political standing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked their relationship too. And I really liked their first meeting where, like, he's talking to her. And I love him speaking through kind of stumbling English, because at
Mm-hmm.
least for me, like, the subtitles had, like, the full complete
It has
sentence.
the full sentence, yeah, but you're
Yeah.
like, that's not what he said.
No. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love hearing him say it in his words. I don't, and
Yeah,
like,
and to not
you have
be,
the meaning of what he means, and then to be limited by, he speaks how many
yeah,
languages, but like,
yeah,
not as fluently as he's feeling.
yeah,
Like, that's, I mean, how frustrating to have to be, like, stuck in your own head like that, but also, like, how articulate he is, even in those few sentences where he's talking with Eileen, their first meeting, about um fighting for his country's independence, and she's like, well, why not fight for the whole world? Everyone's equal. And he says, no, I'm not equal. We're not equal, not yet.
hmm,
When we're equals, then I will fight with everybody else, but we're not.
yeah,
And I really like that moment because it's a very succinct way of kind of showing her own privilege a little bit,
yeah.
where she's like, you have never had to fight for your own freedom to this extent. Like, yeah,
Like it's
I think it's
easy for you to
awesome.
see like the dangers of capitalism in the Western world because
Yeah.
that's where you grew up. And it's easy for me to see like real oppression because this is
Yeah,
happening to me,
on a
you know?
personal level.
Yeah.
Hi. And
More
like,
than just the concept of it, but the reality of it.
yes.
Yeah.
And I like that they don't argue, and we don't really get a lot of in-depth conversations with them. It's mostly just that, where he's like, you can
I
tell
need
he
your help.
respects what she
Like,
does.
yeah.
It's not that he doesn't like that she's not helping him specifically. He totally gets why she would be fighting on a broader scale
Why they would have
for,
different causes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I like that they can still, like, collaborate with each other while having different immediate goals. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, I thought that was really cool. I
Yeah.
also liked when he teamed up with the IRA.
Sue me. That's cool. What can I say?
Yeah, what is he? He says, I'm a lamb, you're a lamb. We got the same butcher, baby.
Hmm. And the Irishmen are
Dude,
like,
my jaw dropped.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
some like little moments that you're like, this absolutely makes sense. This like connection between, and how beautiful is it that no matter where you are in the world, you can make a connection with somebody who wants to retaliate against British oppression. I mean,
Yeah. That is just, I mean, it's
if you
really,
think
really
about it, they're
beautiful.
heroes for uniting us all.
Amen. And don't you think, like, if you think about it too, I think America is the child who was raised by a bad parent who
Mhm.
swore they'd never turn out to be anything like them, and then they
And then
one
turned around and
day
became exactly like them. Yeah.
exactly like them. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, let's all remember the famous words of my dear professor and true love, Bashir Bashir. The British are wicked.
Wicked!
Yes, the British are wicked. The British are wicked. The British are wicked. Amen
Yeah,
and
that's actually what
hallelujah.
Paul Revere said. He was
I think
misquoted.
so.
He actually said the British are wicked, the British are wicked. One if I land, two if I see, the British are wicked.
Yeah, screw them, baby.
Yeah. If we've said it once,
Boo.
we've said it 1,000 times.
Yeah, the British Empire existed only to bring us Taskmaster today,
Hmm.
but like that's all. Terrible food. You bastard. You went everywhere in the world for
I
spices and
know.
you have
And
the
like,
audacity.
ugh, to be like, oh, people actually eat them?
Go
Oh,
eat your beans on
I,
toast.
yeah, I literally, like, during that scene, I was like, it's the classic joke that keeps being true. The British conquered everybody for their spices and still don't know how to use them. Like, it's still true. Listen, um, Yorkshire puddings, like a Sunday roast, that's good food. Fish and chips, that's good food. I'm not saying that they haven't ever invented any good food. What I'm saying is that it's ridiculous
Mm-hmm.
to go to so many places all around the world and instead of appreciating their culture, just be like, okay,
Ew.
but have you tried plain baked beans? Plain.
Oh my gosh.
I saw a video recently. It was like a YouTube short of these like British guys who travel to America and they're trying a bunch of like local cuisine all around America, which is like a huge endeavor because
It's so
everywhere
big.
has its own, it's enormous.
Yeah.
There's like a state cuisine everywhere. That's at least 50. And then you'll have like regional things too, you know. What a
Yeah.
task. Anyway,
Average,
they're
I'd
in
say like 10 per
Tennessee.
state.
Yeah, they're in Tennessee, which is a place I think where you could have a lot of variety of like delicious southern cooking, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
And
probably had grits there.
they're eating like essentially like baked beans and Texas toast, you know? This is like beans on toast. So they take their little toast and they put their little beans on it and they eat it and they're like, it's ruined forever. I can never eat regular beans on toast again. I was like, finally, like they have good ideas, but it's like, why stop there when you have all these resources? Like,
You're
put a
limiting
little flavor in
yourselves.
that. What are you doing? Yeah, it's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, exquisite.
So that's what we're saying. And again, back to that line of like terrible weather, terrible food, I hated the people. Like, insane thing to say. You should have kept that to yourself, even if it was true. And also, like, I just have a hard time believing that it's true. Because I feel like everybody who travels pretty much anywhere, what do they say? The weather was lovely, the food was delicious, and the people were so nice and so welcoming. Like, pretty much anywhere you go, that's what people say. Because
Yeah,
it's true. Like, if
it's a
you come
skill
to a place where
issue.
somebody lives, they want you to appreciate their food. They want you to enjoy their company. That's like human nature is like, I want you to have a good time while you're at my house.
Yeah.
So, but
But
this
if someone
guy,
breaks into your house and starts rifling through your kitchen cabinets
mm-hmm,
and making fun of you for the things that you have because you
mm-hmm.
bought them, because that's where you live, because it's your home, then you're like, what the hell?
What? Get out
And
of
then
my
starts
kitchen.
making fun of you for the dances that you don't know.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, two can play at that game.
Have you heard of Daisy Notch? Yeah.
And then you kill him. No,
Yeah,
for real, it's
yikes.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yikes, yikes.
And
Yeah.
again, we know he's a villain. We know he caused the murder of like thousands of civilians,
Hmm.
and that's always bad. But
Yeah.
also, can you imagine saying to somebody's face, I went to your hometown and it sucked? Like,
Oh my
stop it.
gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So mean.
I
So
even
mean.
like on the very surface level of that is that I live in the same place that I go to university. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of people come here just for school and they think that they hate it. And I'm like, I think you hate school is the thing.
Yes.
And that's just like even I could be offended at like, oh, people hate my hometown because they only
Mm-hmm.
know it for college. But that's kind of whatever. But then it's
Yeah.
not like they come here for college, murder my family, burn my crops, and then tell me I hate it here. I'm like, you made it this way.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
literally.
course it's a bad place to live and people aren't friendly to you. Uh,
Play
like
stupid
there aren't
games,
any
win stupid
words.
prizes,
It's
you
like,
bitch.
yeah,
You should have been shot so many more times.
so many more times. Every single day.
Yeah.
You
Through
step
each
off the
finger.
plane into India, you just get shot. You don't belong there.
Yikes, yikes,
Yeah.
yikes. Yeah. No, that it's yeah, it's rough for sure.
Mhm. But at least
Yeah.
it's like watching this movie, like it is very intense. There's not a lot of like lighthearted moments. It's really just like go, go, go the whole time.
Hmm.
You can take comfort in the fact that like that guy died. You know? He
Yeah, he
got shot
did.
3 times point blank in the chest.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he didn't even like live or struggle
No.
a little bit, you know?
No, he just
No
was like
backbone.
died
Yeah.
like a coward.
Yeah. Speaking at a conference, what a horrible place to die. In
Mhm.
front of people?
In front of people. Well,
That's
and
so
what a
embarrassing.
strategic place. I mean, this guy's like, he's speaking at a conference?
Yeah. Like
That was my
on a
time to
on a
shine. Oh
strategic
my gosh, and I
level,
loved that scene of when he's like leaving a shop and he sees the sign like, oh, this evil British person is speaking here at this time. And he's like, I'm gonna take that. He
fold it up
goes
real
home, he
nice.
gets a big old book, he has a gun, and he traces the shape of the gun so he can carve it out. I was like, awesome.
That is crazy.
Hmm.
Speaking as someone who has actually carved out the shape of a book, it's so much harder than you think it's gonna be.
Hmm. And that's
This,
just the shape of a book. Imagine a
yeah,
gun? Yeah.
no, that, I mean, guarantee he did that all night. And you have to go page by page.
Hmm.
Because I had to go page by page and I was doing a square.
It's hard work. Hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah, I keep
But
my
then he
Adderall in
walks
here.
in like the freshest outfit you've ever seen.
Yeah,
The
he puts his
top button
hat
is
on.
done, but not in a nerdy way. He looks better with the top button done. Name somebody else who's like that. You can't.
Crickets.
Yeah, and he has
He
his jaunty little cap.
the hat. He
Like,
grabbed himself a bite of a sweet,
mm-hmm. Good for him. That's his favorite food right there. And he's
and
like,
then
today,
he's out the door.
you know why? I'm gonna kill somebody in cold blood. Hmm.
And
In
again, he
front
was
of
so
everyone.
right for that.
Yeah,
I
this
also,
movie's incredibly based. We can say that for sure.
yes, yeah, uh-huh. I do think killing I think the loss of any human life is absolutely tragic.
Yes,
I do
and that
think
you can't end the cycle of violence with violence.
with more violence.
Unfortunately, people keep
Yes.
trying it and it just keeps not working.
Keeps not working.
And you wish that
Absolutely.
it would work, but this
This,
time you're
this,
like, oh, all those other times were different, and this time it'll work, but
yeah,
it just won't, is the thing.
it just won't. But
Yeah.
I will say, uh, seeing
Vengeance is
old,
sweet.
it's so sweet, dude. It tastes so damn good. Seeing broken bitch ass white man get
Mhm.
killed to death, it
In
felt
front of
good
everybody.
in front of everybody.
How embarrassing.
Oh my gosh, it was sick as hell. It was
Yeah,
awesome. It was great.
it's
He
good.
deserved
And
that.
they replay that moment. Like it happens initially, and then later when he's telling his story, you do get a little flashback, and that's
You get to
nice.
see it again. I appreciated that. Um,
Because it's
back
like,
to
hey, it's probably been too long since we've seen an old white guy get killed to death. Let's just bring that guy back for a little bit. And you're like, nice.
yeah, thank you.
Bringing it home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I also really appreciated that moment where he makes it a point of saying I don't hate Britain. I really don't. And at that point,
Mhm.
I was like, like you
Yeah.
can, like
But
that's
he's just
okay
meaning
if you
like
wanted to.
regular people.
Yeah, and
It's like I don't hate you. You're doing your
you're
job.
doing your job. And I was like, I love that, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Even after all these 20 years of bitterness, he's still a good person. He
that's
has his one target goal, you know, he's like, I'm gonna reach this goal, and I'm not gonna have like any what's the word I'm like the word I'm thinking of is ricochet, but it's not that, but it's like that. Where it's like you do this and then there's like an accidental bad consequence. He's not gonna have civilian casualties, as it were. You know what I mean? He's
mm-hmm.
like, I'm gonna kill this guy on purpose.
Repercussions.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yay.
But there's not
Yeah,
gonna be, you know what I mean? Like it's not like his gun misfired and he like hit a woman from the press or something. She
yeah.
was there. She
Hmm.
saw it happen,
She did.
but he was right on, right? So
Yeah,
that's again like with this goal, like I'm not gonna lose sight of who I actually have beef with.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna blame everybody. I'm not gonna blame Eileen just because she's also a white British person. You know what I mean?
yeah,
She's one of the good ones, if you will.
yeah.
She's
They have
reasonable.
some. Yeah. Man, are we the British? They have terrible food. The people are mean.
I know. It's like the age-old question of like, is it actually possible to be racist against a white person?
They do it. They say it's racist to against the Welsh. And I was like, I thought they were part of you guys. That's like being racist
Yeah.
against Texas.
It's like,
To
well, they
me, I don't get it.
are, but not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same with like Northern Ireland and Scotland, where it's like, yeah, they're kind of British, but it depends who you ask, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I loved that he and they talked about it a little bit later too, where they're like to be a true revolutionary for a true ideology, you can't be prejudiced, you can't be casteist. Like you can't
Hmm.
put one group above another group. You can't hate.
Right.
That's never gonna work.
Like the whole point of like unifying people is that it's all the people
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get, that's the point. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's like, I have, like, of course, he's like absolutely justified in his anger towards this man
Yes.
who like actively caused this like irreparable harm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it would be like, unfortunately, it is that thing of like, if I stoop to your level, I'm just as bad as you, you know, which is like annoying in like superhero movies, but it actually
Mm-hmm.
does make sense in like real life.
In real
It's
life,
like
yeah.
if I do if there's like this oppressive group and I start doing what they do, I am now an oppressor. Like that's just what has happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like you were saying earlier with America being
Oh.
like, I'm never gonna be like you, and then turning around and being
And being just
just like
like
them.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that Batman quote of if you kill a murderer, the number of murderers in the world stays the same.
So you have to
And
kill two.
then the rebuttal to that is I think I don't know, it's not Deadpool because that's the wrong thing. It might be Deadpool actually.
Who cares?
I don't it doesn't matter. But he's like, but if you kill a whole bunch of murderers, then the number of murderers goes way down. And it's like the opposite of that. If it's like I'm a murderer because I kill so many people, and then you kill me, then the number of murderers stays the same, but like the number of potential future murders goes way down. Do you
Right.
like, like I'm
And also the number of victims is way smaller. He just killed the one guy. So think about that.
yeah, he killed more than that. I will say, I don't think okay, like I love my teeth and I don't ever want to get into a situation where they're put in jeopardy because teeth things scare me very badly.
Hmm.
I would love to be in an interrogation setting. Not really, but like in my pretend world, I would love to be in an interrogation setting where they're beating me up for information and I get to spit blood at them, you know?
Hmm.
and curse at them. I'm not telling you anything. I would love that.
And
Mostly
listen,
because I
we
don't.
all have our aspirations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I forget that these things aren't so. I mentioned at work the other day, I was like, I would love to get into a fight.
Mhm.
And that was not a normal thing to say, apparently. I was like, oh, so like my friend thinks I should become a beard model. Like suddenly now our conversations are being like
Right.
moderated. Like,
We have
okay.
to be professional at work.
Yeah,
You shut
whatever.
up then.
Yeah, don't talk to me about like I don't even use beard oil. Like, shove it up your ass. I don't care. But like I
Like, who
say
asked?
I want to have a semi-professional relationship with someone that I know a little bit, not too well, but also
Mhm.
not a complete stranger to me, where we meet and we beat each other up for a half an hour and then we shake hands and part ways and we don't talk to each other for a week. And then we meet up and do the same thing again just to get my wiggles out. Is that so weird?
I think you should probably sign up for like a class or something, like learn some boxing, some martial arts, because that's like the legal way of doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like people don't look at you weird when you do that. I go,
Yeah.
that's cool that you're like getting into sports or something, you know? So that's
Yeah.
my advice to you. But I do understand the urge to just be like scrappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No rules, no referee. There's no mats.
Mhm.
I get to throw
There's
a punch.
asphalt.
There's asphalt, yeah.
Yeah.
And someone's going to throw a punch at me.
Hmm. There's real danger there, and that's kind of exciting.
Maybe I get to lick the blood off my teeth.
Mm.
Or
Yours?
like do that thing, maybe. Maybe I get to do that thing. You know where people do this in movies? It's my most favoriteest thing, and I never, ever, ever get tired of it, where they wipe it just
Oh,
from the
swipe
corner of
it
their
with the
mouth.
knuckle. Yeah.
Do the knuckle. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Exactly. Just that one, and then they look at it and then they go, and then they throw the punch with that hand with their own blood on it. I go crazy for that. I love that.
What's that
I
thing,
never
that
get
like
tired of seeing the
YouTuber
sunset.
boxing thing that they do every year?
Oh yeah,
Creator
yeah.
Clash. Maybe we'll get invited to that. That would be fun.
That would be so fun. Do you
That'd
think
be
I'd ever
super
get to
fun.
beat up Jake Paul?
I don't think that you're in the same weight class, but maybe if you ask really nicely, they'd let you do it anyway.
Okay. It gives me hope.
You just email them every single day. Hello. Here's
Pretty
who I would like my
please.
opponent to be. Please, 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 please. I know it's unreasonable, but I'm scrappy. I can do it. Please.
I really do need to learn how to fight because that is my toxic trait is I truly believe I
Mhm.
have no muscle strength, no skill
Yet.
in fighting whatsoever, but I truly believe if I were to get into a fist fight with someone tomorrow, I could win just from the sheer amount of rage
Hmm.
and a scrappiness, yeah, inside of me. I would
Yeah.
think I could. And I
Yeah.
know I can't, but I
But
think
I
I could.
think I can.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Do you see what I'm
You're like the
saying?
little
Yeah.
engine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you just get
gotta
them while they're not expecting it.
yeah. Maybe I should get a sandbag hanging up in my apartment.
Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
can just like cry fire, Rom style, and just until it explodes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That could be really good.
That would be fun. I
That
do
could be
think I
really
have
good.
always thought that it would be fun to do like boxing or something.
Why don't we live closer to each other? We could
I
take a
know,
class together.
if only. Do we
Yeah.
do like Zoom? Like you have your coach and I have my coach, but we can also do it on Zoom.
What is that what virtual reality is for? Can we do that?
I'm starting to turn around on this whole virtual reality thing. There might be something in it for me after all.
Somewhat I am so deeply afraid of VR because I already get lost playing Skyrim for
Mhm.
8 to 12 hours at a time. I don't know how long I would be in that world if I were to do it through VR. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, I know that's a slippery slope for me. I truly believe that I would not be able to manage myself with that. But then I keep seeing these ads for people who have this like exercise like type fighting game where they have to punch, 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 punch these things as they're passing by and like
Mhm.
duck and do these like wiggle things. And I'm like, damn it, I'm not susceptible to advertising. Like it's so hard
Ooh,
for me.
Mhm.
But yeah. Anyway,
Turn on a light.
it's getting progressively spookier in your corner.
It's because the sun sets over there, so it's
Uh-huh.
like already dark over here, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. I will be right back.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. I had a dream with Willem Dafoe in it last night.
Yay.
Yeah. I don't remember what role he played. And I mean, that's literally the only information that I have is I know Willem Dafoe was in it. But like, that's all I
Sometimes
need.
that's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sardar Udham was a phenomenal film.
Yeah.
I, it's a truly a work of art. Like I think it's an incredible piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's worth watching once. I mean, for a bunch of reasons. Um, but mostly to drive home the point that
The British are wicked.
the British are wicked. Yeah. If
Yeah.
if you take one thing away from this video, like let it be that, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all we're ever hoping for.
Yes.
And yeah, I think it's something that I would recommend that everybody watch once.
Hmm.
But you do have to like be prepared that it's not fun and exciting. There's not like, oh yay, explosions. Oh yay,
Hmm.
human
It,
centipede. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
it's not a
like
fun watch.
no.
Yeah, but it's
But it
an
is
important one.
like yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just like beautifully made.
It is.
Like
Yeah.
there's obviously a lot of care gone into it, a lot of skill.
Hmm.
And like every single shot, you're like, whoa, that's
Yeah, it is
beautiful. You
stunning.
know, it's like
I,
incredible to look at.
yeah, I would like to check out more of this director's stuff because I mean it was really. Oh,
Yeah,
one more thing I
really
wanted to
cool.
watch or I wanted to mention is going back to Hacksaw Ridge, the
Mm.
that's like the thing the movie ends on, right? Is like one person helped so many people
Mhm.
and that was like the point was that he was able to help all of these individuals. And I thought it was interesting that this sort of Udom did something similar where that was such a big part. Holy shit. They're fine. That's such an important part of it, but it's not necessarily like the point of it.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, he probably did save a lot of lives. He helped so many people. And it was
Yeah,
that similar mindset of just one more. Like, I'm just gonna help one more person. And like, you can't not once
right.
you see it, you know?
Once you
And
see, once you help the first person, you have to keep going.
you have to keep, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I don't know, I don't even know if I can articulate what what I have in my brain at the moment, but like this was a US soldier fighting in a war, and the people he was saving were fellow soldiers and Japanese soldiers sometimes, but like mostly American men, his comrades.
Mhm.
And they were all there on purpose to do things. And like, yeah,
Right.
it's absolutely incredible that they were saved and that he was able to do that and had the willpower to keep going. These were not soldiers, you know?
Right.
And so, like, it makes sense that that wasn't the end. That wasn't the point, is that, oh, isn't it amazing that he was able to help so many people and carry so many people through the night and like keep going, keep going, keep going. It was because of that that the real point of the movie is that this person caused it and needed to be held accountable for that thing.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. People talk about like the necessary casualties of war or whatever, but it's a very like unsympathetic way to view like actual human lives. You know what I mean? Like these are
Yeah.
people who didn't have to be involved in that at all. They could have just like lived a normal life, but they didn't. It was taken from them. So it's
Yes.
a different thing to see him like realize that there are survivors, and now like the course of his life has changed forever.
Yeah.
Once you see that, what do you like? How can you just go back to like, thing that was a crazy night and like have it
Yeah.
not entirely change everything about you forever?
I don't similar note, I guess, but the struggle and the will is as important as the end result.
Yeah, because you're never gonna save everybody.
Yeah,
But
but
if that's your goal, you know what I mean? Then
yeah,
you'll do a lot more good than if you just say, I'm never gonna save everybody.
yeah.
And so you don't try.
It's the starfish poem. It mattered to that one. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
It's the what's the not Titanic one, the cup, you know the one. Not the Titanic, but the one that happened with the Titan that it helped the Titanic.
Oh yeah. I know the
Caparthy.
one.
You know the one.
Carpathia?
You know the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
It's
And
like there's
that's
always an opportunity to not do something. And that's
mm,
fine. That's what most people do every day. But then sometimes there's an opportunity to do something. And you can do
mm-hmm.
it. And whatever, like, it's like that Mother Teresa, like, I know that what I'm doing is a drop in the ocean. If I didn't do it, the ocean would be a drop less. You know? Like, why can the drop not be significant?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
should watch MASH.
And Ravenous has
Yes.
nothing to do with any of this. Hi.
He's tired of you talking about Ravenous.
Yeah, that felt very pointed.
Move over. Give me the seat now. It's my turn.
Shut
I
up
want to
about the
talk.
sun.
Shut up about the sun.
Well, did you have anything else you wanted to say about it?
I don't think so. I think this was good.
I think so too. It was
Yeah, it's a very important movie to watch once. It's beautiful, and it's
uh-huh.
heartbreaking. That about sums
Yes.
it up, really.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for the recommendation. Please drop some
Yeah.
more in the comments down below.
Yay. And also thanks to everybody else who has left comments. Like we
Yes.
genuinely have a spreadsheet with like the name of the person and then all the movies that they recommend, right? It's a
Yeah.
huge running list. It's going to take the rest of our lives to watch them all, but
We're
we're
gonna
excited to do it.
we're so excited. I
It's
think
actually awesome.
we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago, but like I for one was kind of surprised that we made it to a year and we're like we're still going. All right.
Yeah.
Like
And
and
we
we didn't
still
run out
have
of
a huge
movies.
list of even movies that we've already seen that we just want to talk about that we haven't even touched yet.
Yeah.
Like, let alone all the recommendations that we've been getting. And like, there are still new movies coming out, and there are old movies that we haven't heard of yet that we still have to watch. You know what I mean? Life is
Mhm.
so beautiful in that
Life is
way.
so beautiful. Life is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I randomly found Ravenous on a cold December night, 25 years after it was released. You know, there are
Yeah.
so many more gems like that hidden. We haven't even talked about Hell's Hinges
We
yet.
haven't even talked about House Villages yet. And we're gonna.
We're
Don't worry. You can save that comment. You don't have to recommend it. We've seen it. Boy, haven't we seen it. Do you want
that
to talk
was
about that
just
one
me.
tomorrow?
Yes, I really do. Yes, I
We
really
should do
do.
that.
We
Yeah.
should do Hell's Hinges. Hell's Hinges. Hell's Hinges.
It's so good. You
It's
guys are gonna
so
love
good.
it.
It's so good.
Let's do
I
that one
was
tomorrow.
let's oh thank goodness. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so
And
excited. I was telling
what a
Jen about it
wonderful,
yesterday.
because I think the movies that we've talked about this month have been very like you know what I mean? We
A
talked about
lot
Fall Guy last
everywhere.
time. That's like, yay! And then this is like,
Yeah.
so this will kind of bring us back to center, I think, where there's a lot
Yeah.
of really great emotional depth, but it's
Yeah.
also fun, you know?
It's so fun.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so good. There's a man in it not named Blaze Tracy. That's
That's
his
his name.
name. That's his name. If you're looking for subtlety in a movie, this one ain't it. We don't ever give previews for our next episode. We
I
never know what we're
know.
talking about ahead of
This
time.
is
This
kind
is
of
fun.
awesome, though.
This is sick.
We should do this more.
We
Should be
should.
like, we should pick two movies at a time. So we can say we're talking about this one, and next time it's like a reverse previously on, like on a TV
Yes.
show. Yeah. This is fun.
I like this. We're still evolving. Isn't that beautiful? We've been doing this for a year and a half, maybe more. Who knows how
We've been
long?
doing it since last January. So it's a
That's
year and a
incredible.
half plus 3 months.
Okay,
There it
fantastic.
is.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's so awesome.
I'm so excited.
This is gonna
movie's
be
so
great.
sick.
This movie's so good.
Yeah, for anyone who thinks like old movies are boring, silent movies are dumb. Yeah,
You've
Suck
never
it.
been more wrong. I have to say,
Mm-hmm.
you've never been more wrong.
No, literally never.
No. It's like people who
Okay.
are like, ugh, history is so boring. You're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Skill
look
issue.
who's doomed to repeat it. Oh
Oh.
no. Oh, hold me back.
Hold me back. Coach, hold me
Hold me
back. Hold
back.
me back. That was um I don't know. I read in the description that the police inspector has to kind of dissect the like past and his
Mhm.
story. And I was thinking, I guess, along the lines of Vikram Veda, where there'd be like a lot of sexual tension. And then I realized this is like a super serious subject matter. I'm probably not gonna get the sexual
Yeah,
tension.
it didn't happen at
No.
all. No. Not even with the love interest.
No.
There's like they're all strictly business.
Yeah. And they get that. It's fine. I
Yeah.
am gonna have to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days tonight, though.